What's up, people? It's your boy Zero, aka Black Natsuki Subaru, and today we're here. We're on a roll, bro. We're on a roll. Now, oh my god, it's just been so hyped, dude. The reveal that Klein has the witch factor of Tristitia. I just farted again. Anyway, dude, shit's fucking crazy. Like, this shit's actually fucking crazy. Go, bro. That and what is his, what I'm trying to understand, because like I know we're gonna get into it, but like his fucking the what do you call it, like the fuck me, let me reread what that shit said. The compensation is possibility. What the fuck? How does that even work? Anyway, look, if you guys are excited to get into this chapter with me, oh, by the way, we are reading ReZero Arc 9, Chapter 33. Now, if you guys are just as excited as I am, leave a like, share it with your homies, subscribe, and hit the notification bell as well, so only you can stay updated on when I make videos, content, go live, and all of that good crazy shit. And you know how this goes. I'm bricked up. You're bricked up. Let's be bricked up in unison as we read this chapter. Bro, I've quite literally been recording for the past like 3 hours, and I'm not stopping. Like, the goal is to, I don't think I can get caught up today. I mean, because like, well, we're on chapter 33 now. I believe there are currently 41 chapters. Let me see. Table of contents. I'm just gonna quickly check and see how many all the way at the bottom. Okay, we're not that far off. Dude, I want to get here, bro. Dude, like, oh my god, this, bro, all of this has been fucking peak. Like, all of this has been fucking peak. Dude, bro, I'm sitting here like, dude, like, every single fucking chapter was a banger, bro. Every fucking chapter was a bit. I'm sitting here trying to wrap my head around this shit. Dude, this shit's been fucking going, bro. Oh my god, dude. God, like, shit. Anyway, back to this. I need some more fucking water. This shit is beyond hype. This shit is beyond hype, dude. Fucking 2 minutes of me glazing. All right. Okay. Attention turning to something outside the topic of compensation. The voice of the imaginary Subaru trembled, and Petra averted her eyes from him. The disconsolate spectacle she had witnessed via the Book of the Dead, the method Subaru had adopted in order to bring an end to bring it to an end, one prepared by that witch, was not something Petra ever wanted to vocalize. Something, oh yeah, she knows that damn, the fact that it's Petra is what's making this like fucking crazy. Where am I? Oh, something she wished to not look upon directly, it was, yet it also was something she was unable to turn a blind eye to. Troublesome, just the right amount. Anyhow, wish factor would mean that Butler was also an archbishop? Well, no, because like you can have an authority and not be an archbishop. So like, I wonder how the envy witch factor works, because if she's able to give this, like, give fucking time travel immortality to different people, I wonder if they couldn't kill her because she kept dying and coming back. But like, well, no, because then she wouldn't be able to die. Anyway, god damn, the more I want to think it, like, it confuses me. Meili, who was in a sense a natural airhead, cut right into the details difficult to ask. 'Twas a term that Petra would have had no recollection of prior to reading the Book of the Dead, but it seemed Meili had gotten an opportunity to learn about witch factors. The relationship between not only the witch factors and the witches, but also the Sin Archbishops, was something Petra also considered she must necessarily inquire about. In all honesty, if this Klein sounds a Sin Archbishop like Betelgeuse was, then I don't know how much I can trust the harmonious conversation till now. Can you really say that, Subaru, after having forgiven Spica-chan, who used to be the Sin Archbishop of Gluttony? The hell are you saying? There's no way I'd forgive Gluttony after all they made Rem go through. It may be better to take a moment and show you my recent memories. Like his relationship with Beatrice, chronologically, whoa, the Subaru Petra saw in the Book of the Dead had many discrepancies in knowledge and relationships with the present Subaru. Thinking back on it, she remembered Subaru speaking ill of Echidna every once in a while. Hence, much had to have happened between Subaru and Echidna, in an extent unbeknownst to Petra, she conjectured. She was unmistakably a bad woman. Therefore, Petra's instincts were right, and in addition to conducting this mental conference, Petra kept a close eye on Klein alongside Meili. She had faith that Klein was no villain, and there was also a precedent of the former Sin Archbishop Spica, but her being I guess no, okay, now I'm thinking about too much shit now. I need to just read. But her being able to trust the other party without reservation the way Amelia could was a wholly different matter. Although that simplicity of Amelia's was adorable and charming, so she wished to quickly grow up the same way. Albeit Meili's misgivings are a matter of course. I am not a Sin Archbishop. Refutation. To begin with, the witch factor of Justitia is an article of an exceptional kind. Enumerated. Unenumerated. Even were I to... Just looking up words. Looking up words. Looking up words. Because if I don't know what something means, I'm gonna see what it means. Not specifically listed or mentioned. Even were I one compatible with this factor, I would not be enlisted among the ranks of the Sin Archbishops, or of witches or Sin Archbishops. Outcast. The erstwhile owner, the one compatible with the witch factor of Justitia, named himself as the Warlock of Justitia. Self-named. No, named by another. That individual had no fixations towards any manner of address, but his wife simply deemed it would be suitable to call him as such and named him. Pet name. Huh? Who? Warlock? Wait. Who was his wife? Don't tell me it was Echidna. This shit is getting so... I'm sorry that I keep breaking. Cause like, bro, now that we're finding shit out, I'm like, my brain is moving a mile a minute to try and put shit together. And if you guys do want me to talk more shit about like my theories and stuff in the video, like just let me know in the comments. But I try to just read it through and then save my stuff for like the end, or if it's like a really big thing, I'll comment on it. But man, dude, this is so interesting. Warlock? Not a witch, but a warlock. I totally get it. Would have been worried had he said man witch or something like that. As if it had been confirmed, or wait, as if it had conformed to his sensibilities. The imaginary Subaru displayed his admiration with a snap of his fingers. On the other hand, Petra looked at Klein as she whispered the word. If this explanation were to also apply to Klein himself, then does it mean that you're a warlock of Tristitia, Klein-sama? Me-sama? No, refutation. I am not compatible with the witch factor of Tristitia. Consequently, I necessitate compensation in order to draw out the authority of Tristitia. Inadequate. By nature, those compatible with the witch factor do not require compensation in order to exercise the authority. It is the right to rewrite the world as recognized by Odd Lagna, official. What does that mean? A right to rewrite the world, huh? I often hear about it, but I wish this Odd Lagna person was a bit more selective about who that is given to. Agreed with Meili. Meili tapered her lips in displeasure as the imaginary Subaru's intangible hand patted her head, whilst Petra... It's so funny just having like an imaginary Subaru there, just like, it's like kind of emoting and shit in the background. Whilst Petra put a finger to her lips and processed the information. She wished to believe Klein's repudiation of being a Sin Archbishop, of being a warlock. Following that, regarding the special power seemingly brought forth by the witch factor, she digested the rule that for a person incompatible, compensation was required to utilize that which a compatible party could employ to their heart's content. If that were the payment to use Klein's teleport, no. Compression then. Let's say if the witch factor in Klein Nisama's possession was used by someone else, by me, then can your teleport be used as much as I want without paying the compensation? Petra, that's totally one of those things that wouldn't end well, so stop it. Why, Subaru? You know it too, right? That your return by death is without a doubt the same as the witch factors Klein Nisama is taking in. That's... The moment it hit him, the imaginary Subaru sank in silence with a bitter expression. At the tea party with Echidna, Subaru had learned the truth of having taken in a witch factor. Back then, the topic had been about that witch had belonged to the Sin Archbishop of Sloth, whom he had defeated just prior. Oh, right, because like that's not his only witch factor. True. But upon considering everything, whoa. Okay, no. He's not about to give her this fucking witch factor, dude. Bro, if Petra got the witch factor of Justicia, bro, what the fuck? But upon considering everything, including the reason for the Witch of Envy's fixations on to Subaru, then there was probably more to it. Return by death was neither magic nor curse arts, nor home technique. It was a clearly disparate power. In other words, there was a high chance that it was an authority. If so, Natsuki Subaru was a warlock, all the same. I mean, yeah, low-key. In that case, I don't mind becoming a witch. I'm not afraid, if I'm with Subaru after all. You may be jumping to the wrong conclusion. Regardless of whether my return by death is an authority or whatever, you know, there's an unavoidable pattern in Another World stories of receiving a gift from a god who won't even show their face yet. Subaru, you keep a lot of secrets, but you're a bad liar. It was perhaps why he must have kept things hidden, always avoiding conversations to stop himself from revealing any of his secrets. Cherishing the kindness of her beloved with affection. Cherishing the kindness of her beloved with... Oh, okay. I read that weird. Petra closed her eyes, then once again looked back at Klein. Klein slightly widened his eyes, his expression suggesting awe at her gaze and will of strength. Am I dyslexic or something? What the fuck? Strength of will. Regrettably, that method cannot be adopted. Rejection. Why? To begin with, it is inconceivable that you, Petra, would be compatible with the witch factor of Justitia. This factor and one other, the factor of vainglory, are both unenumerated. No. Supernumerary is the right word. They are exceptional factors, with each having been fine-tuned to their respectively singular and uniquely compatible persons. The valiant and the saintess. Who's the valiant and the saintess? Taylor. They shan't ever be compatible with any other. And besides, even they who are compatible are unable to escape the corruption of their minds. Disgrace. Casting his eyes down, Klein pursed his lips. From his response, Petra was able to intuit that the aforementioned compatible individuals, the valiant and the saintess, were two people with whom he had been acquainted. Furthermore, the person singularly compatible with the witch factor of Justitia, the very warlock of Justitia, whose mind had fallen into corruption, was that valiant. Moreover, the fact that Klein possessed the witch factor of that warlock signified that the valiant no longer existed in this world. Yeah, I know you're talking about something really important, but since Petratron's dangerous determination won't work, let's get back to the main topic, okay? Dangerous, you say? It was totally dangerous. Even if Petratron takes a liking to something, like a witch factor, I'm definitely against it. You can't rely on that kind of power. Meili-chan. She could tell there were words of genuine concern for Petra, devoid of malice. Meili knew about witch factors without having attended the witch's tea party. Judging from her phrasing, she might have encountered a being in possession of a witch factor. Sin Archbishop. Her advice was yet ironic. Lowering his brows, the imaginary Subaru gazed at Meili with an expression that was too gentle to be one born of mixed feelings. The incident surrounding the sanctuary in the Roswell mansion, and having been captured in the midst of it all, Meili had also been involved in the matter, in the deaths of Petra and Frederica, and she herself had witnessed in the Book of the Dead that Petra. Wait a second. If Subaru read Meili's Book of the Dead in Arc 6, wouldn't he have had knowledge about lust or mama anyway? Interesting. Anyway, Astoria City. Where am I? That Petra and Meili's relationship did not end as merely that of victim and aggressor of death, was thanks to none other than Subaru's return by death. Because of that, Petra could not help but think that a power depended upon how it was used. Yeah, I understand. That's right. You're a good girl. Meili was visibly relieved by Petra's reply. Holding the former's hand, Petra nodded. Either way, if the witch factor of Justitia was not compatible with Petra, then the strategy of becoming the factor's holder in Klein's stead and ignoring the compensation would not work. Petra being the witch to Subaru's warlock was solely a charming scenario. You fucking. But an alternative that ought to have been abandoned if it had no merit. Per Meili's words, let us return to the main topic. Restatement. Anyhow, as I explained, payment of the compensation will be required, and that compensation is the potential to exert influence upon the world. Possibility. Could you please explain in more detail? For example, let us say that there is a magic spell that can start a fire with a single incantation. Its convenience goes without saying. And contingent upon this spell is a great number of futures may open up. Prospects, cooking, medicine, metalwork, smithing, warfare. There is no time to list them all. Extensive. It is the potential influence, ergo, possibility. Thus, if that spell were to be offered as compensation, everything that would have happened due to that spell would disappear. In its place, there will remain a vacancy where the possibility would have originally been used in the world. In the place of that vacancy, that margin, the incompatible authority of Tristitia can be exercised. Conclusion. What? With that finale, Petra understood that Klein had finished the necessary explanation. What he was saying, she understood. In short, it was a matter of resources. There's a limit to resources for opening the world which Odd Lagna was managing. The condition for using Klein's authority was to sacrifice something to create a leftover or resource. Oh, that were originally being exhausted to their limit, and then surreptitiously make use of that surplus. Having come to that realization, the clever and lovely Petra noticed one more thing. Klein-sama, we used your authority a lot to get to the Empire. What about the compensation for that? From the Master. Confidential. Seriously? Ew. With vexation and abhorrence, the pits of Petra's stomach churned. So they wiped something from existence to use? Huh. Interesting. I wonder how that works though. If it's removing something so that, like, oh, that dude, fuck my brain, it trembles. Okay, wait. So to use the authority of Tristitia, you need possibility. Possibility comes from the absence of something that once existed. So you have to basically wipe something from existence to make a gap in space-time that you can then use to squeeze in that gap to then reappear. What the fuck? I'm pretty sure I get it, but just in case, can somebody like double explain in the comments if I'm not, if I'm right, if I'm making that make sense? God damn. That's interesting. Anyway. Klein needs... Oh yeah, confidential, okay. Everyone from the camp had mustered the entirety of their strength to save Subaru and the others from that situation. Beatrice had remained asleep, believing that she would be reunited with Subaru, and Otto had even compromised his principles to seek help from his hometown. Amelia had desperately indicated her decision, and Petra had also intended to do everything possible. And yet, the fact that the one to pay the most compensation for it, withholding from even divulging its truth, had been Roswell, was an unbearable humiliation for Petra. The one to pay the most compensation for it, withholding from even divulging its truth, had been Roswell. What could it be? Something like the desire for atonement? Like an apology for the sanctuary or the mansion? I don't think it would be an easy, understandable sentiment like that. That's why I hate the Master. Yeah, you're right to be angry, Petra. The imaginary Subaru had still not read Petra's memories of the Empire, so he was unable to empathize with her emotions, which was frustrating. However, Petra did not want him to understand even this ugly, grimy enviousness of hers. So she cast that grime into the well of her heart, closed the lid, and nailed it shut, never to peek inside. Her dissatisfaction with Roswaal was nothing new. Furthermore, it made sense that Roswaal was the most suitable person to fulfill the conditions for using Klein's authority. The Master has many things that seem like they could be given as compensation, like his magic or magic creation tools. Of course, it was a matter of lightly relinquishing those things, however much, just because of their abundance. It remained unclear whether Odd Lagna would consider the degree of emotional attachment in its evaluation, but what had been mentioned was a possibility that would be exerted influence upon the world had it not been relinquished. Whatever that might have been, Petra did not believe that something lacking emotional attachment could move the world. Possibility God fucking damn it. All these S words are fucking me up. Necessitated passion and emotional attachment. Passion and emotional attachment. To offer something bereft of that and try to obtain inexpensive salvation was tawdry. And there was no such wretched reasoning. And there was no way such wretched reasoning would ever succeed in regaining something truly important. That was why Petra... I'm willing to offer something. Oi, oi. Having the same idea as Petra, Meili quietly murmured. While the imaginary Subaru blinked in astonishment, Meili continued with a, after all, going back to it, the fact that I'm alive is all thanks to Oni-san and the others letting me off the hook. I'm not trying to repay that favor or anything, but it's pretty straightforward logic, I suppose. Petra, stop this girl! Stop Meili! I don't know what went on between me and the present her, but I would never have saved... I would have never saved her with that intention. You're right. The imaginary Subaru was saying, his expression shifting. She could readily accept it. Subaru saving Meili had not been something so calculated as to make her exert herself or compel her to repay the favor at some point. It had been simply because he had wanted to save her. Subaru would surely never let Meili close the door on possibilities. You can't, Meili-chan. The most valuable among everything you can offer is your divine protection that controls witch beasts, and without it, you're worthless. Damn. Hey, Petra-chan, you're being so mean. Sorry, worthless is a bit... Damn. Worthless is a bit too far, Meili-chan. You'd be reduced to just being cute. Truth be told, Subaru, Amelia, and everyone else will likely say that was still fine. However, Meili of all people could not accept being just a cute girl. Petra was painfully aware of this. Cute girls could not remain just as cute girls. As cute girls, as much as everyone around them would think. Petra-sama! Meili-sama! Suddenly, a voice startled them, and Petra and the others turned around toward the dragon carriage. There, jumping down the carriage and rushing toward them, was a girl's Flam's figure. During their travel across the Agria sand dunes, she had spontaneously lost her consciousness, but had now woken up. The circumstances behind Flam losing her consciousness had been tied to her divine protection. Flam-chan, thank goodness you're awake. The conditions for using the divine protection of Mindspeak have been met. I can contact my sister, Graces. Communication should be possible with Felt-sama and Raction-sama as well. Rather than ascertaining safety and well-being, prioritizing quickly relaying her own situation. Her own situation was Flam. That she must have wanted to establish contact with her people in regards to Reinhardt and the Witch of Envy clashing immediately after waking up. She withstood the urge to was something only to be grateful for. Unquestionably, after receiving communication from Flam and learning of the frenzy that Al had enkindled, the Felt Camp would also be in position to move the situation toward its resolution. With Reinhardt unable to move, there's no telling how much we can rely on Felt or Ramji. No, we shouldn't be stubborn about doing things on our own. Petra. After all, this is no longer just our problem. It's a problem for everyone in the kingdom. Al was on a rampage, having captured the persons of Natsuki, Subaru, and Beatrice. The situation was no longer a minuscule problem of that kind, but rather had escalated on a national, even a global crisis intertwining with the Sword Saint, the Divine Dragon, and the Witch of Envy. That was why it was important for Petra and the others, who knew the situation best, to spare no expense in conveying information. Flamchan! Out where Felt-sama and the others are right now. As long as we know where they are, we can join them with Klein-sama here. Understood. With Petra arranging the procedure and giving her this instruction, Flam glanced at Klein for a moment, but resisted the urge to ask more details and immediately agreed. Instead, Meili tugged at Petra's sleeves and asked, Petra-chan? We still haven't finished discussing the compensation to give to Butler-san. No, I've already made up my mind about that. Eh? Meili's eyes widening at Petra's answer. The latter gently unfastened Meili's grip on her sleeve and quickly approached Klein, then glanced at the imaginary Subaru from the corner of her eye. Despite knowing that he, who was staring at her actions with incredulity, was simply a convenient illusion for her to see. Is she about to say it? Cover your ears for a moment. In response to Petra's question, the imaginary Subaru paused momentarily and meekly obeyed. Once he did plug his ears, Petra stood on her tiptoes and pronounced a Klein-sama. Subsequently, she brought her mouth close to Klein's ears and softly whispered, "That was..." So with that workers' compensation? As Petra lowered her heels and asked the question in a hushed voice, Klein froze with widened eyes. Petra tilted her head slightly, making a gesture that paused on the uppermost bounds of her cuteness, to which Klein let out an exhale. With a long, deep sigh, he removed his monocle, with face bared, regarding Petra once more. It ought to be possible. Estimation. However, Petra, that is... Thank goodness! I always knew it, though. That I had the possibility to move the world. What is she... Hold on, bro. Is she gonna pay with her love for Subaru? Surely not. Surely not. What the fuck? What can this be? Puffing out her chest in pride, Petra disallowed Klein from speaking any further. She had received the answer to a question she could only have posed to Klein. Regardless of what it was, Petra held pride in that answer. Klein was Klein. His assessment might not have necessarily coincided with odd Lagnus, but at the very least, Klein had recognized the value of that possibility. I'll offer the compensation, Klein-sama. Together we can save the world. No, something like the world doesn't really matter to me. It's just, I want to save the people who are precious to me. Understood, Petra. Amongst all the girls I have met, you are the bravest. Admiration. Klein gave a deep bow, one akin to those he gave to Anna Rose and Roswell, or perhaps the people whom he thought to be splendid from the bottom of his heart. In response, Petra returned a smile and noticed Meili staring at her. Seeing somewhat of an uneasiness in her round eyes, Petra gently embraced her. I don't really know, but I'm pretty sure Petra is a huge idiot. That's so mean. I'm smart, cute, and cool. Petra retorted to Meili's rude remark and hugged her. Then she looked over her shoulder at the imaginary Subaru standing there, looking utterly lost. Finally, The imaginary Subaru lowered his hands from his ears, his face being so endlessly dear. His face being so endlessly dear for her to gaze upon. Petra broke past her personal record for maximum cuteness and declared, "Subaru, I love you." Bro. Fuck me, dude. Bro. Arc 9 will be the reset anyway. Everything will be canceled. Petra and Ram are now closer to Subaru than Amelia. Two love rivals for her. Toby won't let that happen. Dude. This is like, is she giving she's giving up her love for Subaru. How is Ram closer to Subaru? Wait, how is Ram closer to Subaru than Amelia? Amelia and Subaru spent a whole year together. Their bond is certainly deeper, along with Beatrice. Petra's a... Dude, this shit is fucking gas, bro. Next chapter. That was kind of quick. How long is this chapter? How long? This one isn't long either. Hey yo, we're just gonna read two. We're gonna read two. I guess we're diving into the next chapter because that one was relatively short. Okay. Arc 9, Chapter 34, Attraction. Her holding all these stars. Klein's teleportation, which he described as compression, was something Petra had last experienced about a month ago, and Meili a few days prior. It might be surprising the first time, but there's no need to be afraid. With that, Petra, drawing on her experience, offered an inexperienced Flam some advice. She worried that without proper warning of what was to come, Flam might panic, but she simply shook her head with a no. There is no need to worry, as most surprises cannot surpass those of the young master. That guy, even his own camp treats him like he's a complete shocker of a human. How crazy is that? Oh. Hello, Bumpleman. Anyway, where? Okay, here I am. Even Subaru was astonished by that overly straightforward comment. However, Petra only knew from Subaru's memory shared via the Book of the Dead that Reinhardt had blown up a building with a single swing of his sword and sent Meili's sister flying. So she understood Flam's unusually calm attitude towards the abnormal. Even if Flam-chan is okay, even if Flam-chan is okay, I hope the sleeping Sensei-san doesn't wake up. Little Crimson Scorpion-san was really panicked the first time Butler-san transported us. They have Shala with them? What? Huh? Oh my god, bro. Okay, I'm gonna keep reading. That reminds me, is there such a thing as teleportation sickness? When we were in Valakia, some people were fine with Spica-chan's teleportation, but others weren't. Her hair rustling. Meili shrugged, and the little Crimson Scorpion peeked out from inside. They do have her! What the fuck? Raising its pincers as if to imitate its master. Bro, this is crazy. So who's going to be guarding the watchtower? The previous comment reminded Petra of the teleportation ability of Spica, who have been left behind in the Empire, whether due to physical constitution, individual strength, or weakness. Those who were unable to handle it simply could not. While Petra was on the side of those who could handle it, Garfield was on the other side of those who could not, and would curl up and sulk afterward. Then, in response to Petra's question, Klein raised a finger with a, "That is interesting," consideration. Although the number of times it had been used and the number of people who had tried it are not that many, no one has fallen ill. Reassurance. Strictly speaking, the authority of Tristitia is not teleportation, but rather the result of compression of time and distance that would normally be traveled. Abridgment. Wait, so that's... Oh! Wait. So wait, is that how Hector's work then? Was he just compressing space? Time? That motherfucker was kind of nasty with it though. He was... Bro. Okay. Anyway, I have no idea what that means, no matter how many times I hear it. So does that mean it's okay to think of it like King Crimson? No. It's unclear whether it erases even the effects in between, so maybe it's different from King Crimson. Okay, they're definitely gonna have to explain that. There's no need to worry about getting sick. It just gives us the power to create the precise time we need. Or to create the...
I think it's Salt Vest Metagross is...
Oh shit. Pause. Sorry, the music stopped and like a different video started playing in the background. I was like, I had to change it. But I also went and got like a little pill for my sinuses. Anyway. So. And it gives us the power to create the precious time we need. Knowing that is good enough for now. Petra came to that conclusion. Melee gave a look of bewilderment, and Subaru mused over it in his own way. She could have understood that what Subaru meant, but she felt it would have been a waste of time and thought to dwell on the contents of his speech. Dude, I love how like Subaru's just been more just like embracing his video game and anime references and shit, because like I guess like the only person who can understand it would be like Al, because it's him, and like I guess Petra, yeah. Where am I? If she had the time, she would like to confirm all the memories and knowledge that had been poured into her mind and become someone who knew everything about Subaru. But Klein Nisama, can I ask you something? Far from fulfilling that desire, the time spent on the... Wait, are we just gonna ignore the fact that she said I love you in the last chapter? Anyway, far from fulfilling that desire, the time spent on it would have been a waste. And so Petra prompted Klein. The lens of his monocle glistened, and Klein nodded. Yes, timely. Considering the phenomenon he was preparing to bring about, his attitude was reassuringly calm. Then, while Petra was admiring that, Melee tugged on her sleeve with a, "Hey, Petra-chan, about the compensation we were talking about earlier. It's okay. Klein Nisama said it was good." "That's not what I meant. I don't know the reason myself, but if you have to lose something, Petra-chan, then I don't like it." Lose something? Or lose something? Melee seemed overwhelmed by her emotions, and Petra blinked in surprise at her words. Her friend's frank concern, along with Klein's assessment of the compensation, had been offered. The emotions that flooded Petra's heart at that moment were insanely complex and profound. With that, Petra smiled at Melee and, "Thank you, Melee-chan, but really, I'll be fine." "If that's a lie, you'll be then you're terrible. Then you're terrible." Petra smiled and nodded at the poorly thought out threat Wait, what? Petra smiled and nodded at the poorly thought out threat that had been mustered up after some deliberation. She gently let go of the sleeve and held her hand close to her chest, then looked for Subaru. Petra knew this illusory form would not leave her behind, but it was a matter of principle. When she spotted his translucent form, Subaru was gazing out at the distance at the sand sea. If I had been a bit more careful, it wouldn't have caused you so much trouble. In the eastern sky, where the very air cried out in agony, the sky turned a sickening hue, and the sound of the earth being gouged away roared. There, the battle between the Sword Saint and the Witch of Envy raged on. It was a clash between two immensely powerful entities that would determine the fate of the world. Seeing Subaru's frustrated expression, watching as he lamented his own inadequacy, Petra was overcome with sadness. Worried about his friend, Subaru did not mention the recent exchange between Petra and Klein, showing respect for Petra's wishes. In essence, Petra could not hide anything from him, as he existed within her mind. If he wanted to, he could easily reveal all the information she had kept from him. However, the imaginary Subaru did not do so. Whether this was due to Subaru's decency or thoughtfulness, or his intention to do as she said, or perhaps because Petra's self-consciousness, affection, and memories were all muddled together, she could not tell. However, regardless of which it was, this was what Petra thought. Whether it was out of consideration or because it was what Petra desired, the way Subaru behaved was based on how Petra Lete saw the real Natsuki Subaru. With that in mind, Klein-ni-sama, if you would be so kind. Understood. Commendation. Still, embracing her love for Subaru, Petra gave the signal to climb. Petra, Meili, and Flam, with Patrash pulling the dragon carriage with the unconscious Garfield and Ezo, there were 6 people, one dragon in total. Adding to that, Subaru was the little crimson scorpion. The group, adding to that, Subaru and the little crimson scorpion, the group, with the help of Klein, began their journey. To that end, Petra offered the compensation to Odd Lagna. In an instant, in the literal blink of an eye, the world shifted, and the compensation was finished. When she closed her eyes and opened them again, the scenery had completely changed. The taste of the air on her tongue and the skin and the scent of the world that touched her sense of smell had changed dramatically, and Petra realized the authority had been used. For a moment, Petra closed her eyes and thought about the reality of running away. However, she set aside her sentimentality with a momentary prayer, then focused her attention on the task at hand. From this point on, Petra and her companions could not afford even a single misstep. Indeed, Petra gathered her resolve in. Whoa! What's going on? A dragon carriage just appeared out of nowhere. Is it Reinhard? Only he could do something so ridiculous. Am I dreaming? Toto! Lend me your laps. Lend me your soft lap. Fuck. Oh, be quiet. What's all the commotion? Where did you come from? Petra's enthusiasm was dampened by the noisy and unruly welcome they received at the destination of the impression. These 2 spikes are... Okay. That's what had happened. I was like, why does this spike feel like larger? Sorry, chat. What? Ramji's one thing, but Tonchin-chan? Wait. Tonchin-kan too? Tonchin-kan? Why are they with him? How and why? Oh. Okay. Oh. Okay. And the final note to add was that Subaru was the first to respond to the warm welcome, loudly expressing his surprise at such an unexpected turn of events. Petra-chan, Meili, you're both okay? Amelia-tan! Wait, As soon as Petra saw the change in expression and Amelia rushing towards them, Petra experienced sweet feelings erupting from within her heart. Warm, fuzzy, and sentimental feelings filled her chest to the point it tingled, and her head was overflowing with flowery words praising her beauty and cuteness. Those powerful emotions were not just limited to her appearance, but oh, okay, this is Subaru's emotions for Amelia, but through Petra. Okay. Her mannerisms, her way of speaking, and even the sound of her footsteps. Too blatant. Petra's head reeled from the wave of easy to understand intense emotions that washed over her. Up until now, the biggest influence of the Book of the Dead was undoubtedly the existence of the imaginary Subaru, but the shock caused by seeing Amelia was too great. Frankly speaking, an overdose of Amelia's might be life-threatening. What? Why am I saying such stupid things? Suddenly, feeling as if her consciousness were being taken away, Petra frantically grabbed at her collar, nearly losing sight of what was real, and managed to stay grounded in reality. She just got a boner. Let's see. As expected, the love for Amelia was overflowing in an excessively bold manner. That in and of itself made her feel a little jealous, but more than that, although Petra was happy to see Amelia again, it bothered her that her own precious feelings towards Amelia being pushed aside, and she found that difficult to accept. That was why when Amelia found them and ran up to them with tears in her eyes, her face so beautiful it took Petra's breath away, Petra resisted the urge to think that she was EMT and spread her arms wide, and then, Amelia Nitama! That's fucking crazy! Nitama? With a grand slip of the tongue, she startled Amelia as... Oh my god, sorry. She startled Amelia just as they were about to have their emotional reunion. She narrowly avoided calling her Amelia-tan and tried to correct herself, but missed the mark. It was a blunder very uncharacteristic of Petra, regardless. But thank goodness, both of you actually came. Yeah, I'm relieved that you are safe, Amelia Nisama. Overcome with emotion, Amelia embraced Petra, who replied in return her embrace. In contrast to Petra, Meili, who was also being hugged, reacted awkwardly, gasping, "I can't breathe," and timidly wrapped her arms around Amelia's back. Whoa, it's such a relief to see Amelia-tan safe and sound, huh? Has she gotten even cuter since I last saw her? She's got so much potential. While he observed Amelia embracing Petra and Meili from various angles, the floating Subaru was overwhelmed with emotions. He was getting a bit too excited, but that was understandable. After all, given the chronology of the Book of the Dead, the last time Subaru had seen Amelia was when she was at her lowest point in the sanctuary. Back then, Petra had not been as close to Amelia as she was now, so she would not have been able to help her. If even Petra felt grateful about that, then the frustration that Subaru experienced up close back then must have been incomparable. Oh, my goodness, Petra! Look! Amelia-tan is walking so energetically. Yeah, she's walking with long strides. That's great. I'm relieved. I'm so relieved. Because of that, Petra hesitated to pour cold water on Subaru's excitement. And this is probably before they kissed, so yeah, this Subaru doesn't even know that they kissed. Oh, I wonder how Petra would fucking crash out if she knew that they kissed already. While responding appropriately to Subaru's enthusiasm, Petra quietly savored a sense of relief. Her relief was due to one thing. Upon seeing Amelia, she was no longer afraid. The last thing I saw in the Book of the Dead, trapped in the endless obsessive shadows that surrounded them in the sanctuary, Natsuki Subaru was caught in a web of inescapable torment. And in order to escape the witch, he had resorted to a method of suicide prepared as a form of harassment. In that final moment, Subaru/Petra saw it. The terrifying witch of envy had the same face as the person he greatly cherished. When she tried to think more thoroughly about the reason, it felt like she was trying to grasp something shrouded in mist, and nothing coherent came to mind. Still, the vivid emotions remained seared into her mind. That was why she was apprehensive about seeing Amelia again. No, that was not quite right. To be precise, she was apprehensive that she might not have been able to see Amelia in the same way as before. But I'm glad it didn't end up that way, although I'm excited in a different way than before. Huh? Petra-chan, are you okay? I'm fine. I'm just happy to see you, Amelia Nisama. Petra hid her inner conflict and was genuinely happy to be reunited with Amelia, who smiled with wide eyes. In place of Meili, who continued to be stubborn, the little crimson scorpion on her head snapped its pincers, expressing happiness on its master's behalf. And then there was... Just when I thought it was getting lively. Wait. You're here, lass. There, a low husky voice interrupted, and Amelia let out a gasp of surprise. Yep, it's wrong. Amelia had left the door open when she rushed in, and the prominent figure standing there knocked on the door and peered inside. That figure was Felt-chan's grandfather! Amelia's eyes widened at the sight of the old man Ramji, who squeezed himself through the doorway, hearing Amelia's voice. Ramji gave an amused smile and stroked his bald head. The way you say it makes it sound like you're really thinking we're related. Everyone here just calls me Ramji, but this is the first chance we've got to talk properly. Well, I couldn't talk to you in the castle on the day of the royal selection, the day the royal selection began, and when Felt-chan stole my insignia, there was no time to calm down and talk. You don't have to worry so much. Oh, what the? You don't gotta worry so much. It's okay. I understand the circumstances, so it's okay. Fucking Meili. Wait, should that have been Rom or Meili? You don't have to worry so much. I understand the circumstances, so it's okay. Amelia greeted Ramji, and as she responded to his greeting, she seemed to be worried about Meili in her arms. Meili responded with an attitude that was half annoyed and half appreciative about the concern. The current exchange between the two of them was regarding Amelia's connection with Ramji. She was concerned about the fact that Meili's older sister, Elsa, was involved in the previous incident where Felt had stolen the insignia, an insignia that qualified Amelia to participate in the royal selection from her. When thinking about it, these three people had quite a strange connection. If Subaru were to be included, it would be 4 people with strange connection. If Reinhardt were to also be included, there would be no end to it. Calling you last seems inappropriate, given your current position. May I call you Amelia? Yes, that's fine. Nice to see you again, Ramji. Wow, it feels like a historic moment. These two actually introducing themselves properly. Don't be so dramatic. As Amelia and Ramji shook hands and exchanged pleasantries. Oh fuck yeah, I forgot about this. Oh yeah. Cause like they never really got to talk. Like she did heal him too. But then by the time that they were getting up to go, she probably just left his ass. Petra found it funny that Subaru would use such a grand word like historic. While there was undoubtedly a sense of poignancy, the way he put it made it sound like he had witnessed the reunion of two people who had not seen each other for over 10 years. But putting Subaru's excitement aside for now, I've heard about Felt-chan too. It must have been quite a difficult time for you and the others, right, Ramji? That's right. We should talk about that, Petra. Yes, it'll probably take a little while for Kleiny-sama to return, so I think we can start without him. It is a race against time after all. Petra added the last part, and Amelia and Ramji nodded deeply at the same time. Yes, this was a race against time. It was why Petra and the others resorted to using unfair tactics. Currently, Petra and the others were gathered at the royal residence in the royal capital of Lagunica. Among the Amelia camp, whose members were scattered and acting independently, Amelia's position was clear. And if anyone were to become the central rallying point, it could only be her. With that in mind, Petra hurried to the royal capital after meeting up with Ramji and the others using Klein's compression, but it's shocking to see the state of destruction in the royal capital. It's been a while since I've been to the royal capital, but when I last saw it, it wasn't so ruined, and I don't think there were any works of art like that. Ramji spoke with his arms crossed, and Meili, who was looking out the window, joined in. Unlike the two with prior experience, this was Petra's first time in the royal capital. Fortunately, the memory she had just recalled of the loot house was located in the slums of the royal capital, so she was able to compare it with her memories of the royal capital from the past when it was still intact. Damn. It makes sense, like, this is gonna be such a huge, massive, like, fight and, like, undertaking, like, this whole arc. Like, they're fucking everything, like, Al and, Volcanica and Heinko fucking, yay, like, they're fucking a lot of shit up just to get rid of Subaru. So, this damage is gonna be fucking crazy. Where am I? Oh, let me see what time it is. Okay. Certainly, the royal capital in her memory did not have many flashy ice towers, and in the noble district, with its rows of stately houses, was not in such disarray. I never liked that awful place, but I never thought the noble district would be completely destroyed like that. I heard that everyone was evacuated, but still, this is outrageous. Meili-chan also said that Amelia Nisama made those ice towers, right? Well, there was a reason I did that. Everyone was really in danger, and I couldn't afford to hold back. Amelia frantically tried to explain the drastic changes to the royal capital, and that could be seen from the royal residence, which had barely escaped damage. Petra found her frantic movements endearing and worked with Ramji to sort out what had happened one thing at a time. So, as expected, Ao-san did it? Or, as expected, Ao-san did it. That's right. The city was thrown into chaos all because I couldn't stop Ao. It's not your fault, Amelia Nisama. Had you not created those icy towers, the people of the royal capital would have been in big trouble. That's why you are EMG. Amelia Tan is seriously a guardian angel. Yeah, Petra, thank you. Huh? Hey, yo, that's genuinely funny as fuck, bro. Oh my god. That's why you are EMG. Amelia Tan is seriously a guardian angel. Huh? Wait, what did you just say? When Amelia blamed herself, Petra shook her head vigorously to deny that she was responsible. Having heard that Al and Volcanica were involved, if anything, Petra felt responsible. Dude, that was funny as shit. Petra felt responsible, wait. Where am I? Oh, if anything, Petra felt responsible herself for the devastation that struck the royal capital of Lagunica. She could not help but think that if Al's schemes had been stopped at the source of the Pleiades watchtower, then none of this would have happened. If you start talking like that, then there's no end to it. Each of us has gotten outsmarted by Helmet-san at every step. It's Helmet-san and his group who are at fault, don't you think? That's right. It's good to reflect on your shortcomings in order to make up for them, but regretting your lack of ability ain't productive. It's an old man's rule of thumb. Yeah, you're both right. Al did something bad, and he's the one who has to take responsibility for it. We don't have time to feel sorry for ourselves. Amelia's cheeks tightened at Meili and Ramji's words, and she regained her composure. Seeing Amelia's reaction, Petra let out a small sigh and braced herself. Just as everyone had said, weakness disguised as reflection was a bad habit. Yeah, that's a habit of Subaru's too. There's probably him linking out too. But also, I mean, it's not Petra's fault, obviously. Like, she got set up. There was always a path forward. Al must think the same way. Otherwise, he wouldn't have crossed the line to break Sin Archbishop out of prison. What in the world was he thinking? Subaru picked up on Petra's feelings and grimaced at Al's outrageous behavior in the royal capital. In fact, it was an outrageous act of terrorism to use Volcanica to cause massive damage to the royal capital. But that paled in comparison to his real objective, breaking Gluttony out of prison. The Sin Archbishop of Gluttony, who held a deep connection to Petra and the others, had been allowed to escape. Just listening to all the things that man has done is mind-boggling. He's attacked those connected to the royal candidates and kidnapped one of their knights. He turned Volcanica, the divine dragon and protector of the kingdom, against him, and used the Witch of Envy to prevent the sword state from taking action. Furthermore, he's took one of the royal candidates hostage and invaded the royal capital, where he destroyed half the noble district and freed and imprisoned Sin Archbishop. Yeah, bro had a fucking hit list. God damn it. Damn, isn't that something? How many years in prison would that get him? He'd probably get the death penalty 100 times over. Once again, the number and severity of Al and his accomplices' crimes were extraordinary. It seemed as if he was determined to commit every evil deed in the world, but Petra believed that this was done not out of sheer recklessness, but rather something premeditated. Yes, Al had a proper plan, and he was taking the necessary steps to achieve it, which just happened to have been a series of crimes that were each close to being a crime of the century. Maybe it would have been better to reconsider a plan that required the involvement of a Sin Archbishop in the first place. There's also the Witch of Envy, so there's no excuse. To begin with, Petra had no reason to make excuses on his behalf. Based on the impression given by the Book of the Dead, Subaru considered Al to be someone from his hometown. Someone he did not necessarily dislike, but he clearly went way beyond what was forgivable. In that regard, it would have been fair to say that this was the shared opinion of everyone gathered here. No, everyone involved, including those who were not here. Right now, Klein-sama is going around to gather everyone else to bring Frederica Nisama and the others here. Amelia Nisama, where's Otto-san? Well, about Otto-kun. That reaction tells me everything. He's being reckless again. Yeah, that's right. I'm sorry, I couldn't stop him. Slumping herself down, Amelia cast her eyes downward, ashamed on herself, but Amelia was not the one at fault. If anyone were to be blamed, it would be Otto, and in this case, he was not entirely at fault either. Among the members of the camp, Otto regularly acted recklessly. Petra, Frederica, and the others always told him he ought to take a break, but this time, that advice was not applicable. In fact, Otto, who wielded the divine protection of the soul of language, was far too reliable in this situation. Using insects and birds for reconnaissance and espionage, huh? That divine protection sure has a lot of devious uses, but that means undertaking a lot of labor in return. Otto? That's exactly right. You can tell she just calls these motherfuckers by what they wear, bro. You can tell Hat Oni-san is a warrior just by looking at him. Oh, warrior. Warrior. Oh my god. I've been around for a while, but I ain't never heard of the divine protection of the soul of language. The fact that I've never heard of such a useful divine protection's gotta be because no one who's had it has lived long enough for people to hear about it. Meili chuckled, but Petra could not help but agree with Ramji's grim speculation. It was true that overusing the divine protection of soul language was dangerous to one's health, and Petra had also witnessed Otto suffering from nosebleeds after using his divine protection excessively in the Empire. That too was out of necessity due to the demands of the war. There was no room for half measures. He was worried about Subaru and the others, but he was especially concerned about Garfield. He was really determined to do something about it. Otto bro asked my amazing self to do this, and I messed it up. Those two are so much alike. Petra-chan, that was a surprisingly good impersonation. Oh, she did. I forgot. That Garf calls him Otto bro. Oh, like that's so cute. I love their fucking dude. The entire Amelia camp is family, bro. Like Roswell is like the fucking weird uncle that just does too much, and he was like sneaky and creepy. But everybody has such a cute fucking relationship. I love it. Also, if you guys are enjoying this slightly longer power hour, don't forget to leave a like, share it with your homies. Regardless of Amelia and Maylee's surprised reactions, it was easy to imagine Otto and Garfield wanting to do something reckless in such a situation, especially Garfield for sure. Still in a comatose state, Garfield had been left in the care of the Royal Capital's medical center, but caution had been taken to ensure that he would not blame or hurt himself once he regained consciousness. I hope Rufu-chan will be able to keep Otto-san's calm. God damn it, dude! Like the chans and the foo-foo and the man. With that, Petra worried about the well-being of the absent Otto. No matter what sort of insect or animal he attempted to communicate with, Otto himself had to be present to interpret the information gathered. For this reason, Otto was tracking Al's gang on his own, or rather, with his longtime partner and beloved dragon, Fufu. Otto, I'm afraid he'll mess up at a crucial moment, and I don't know how much I'll be able to rely on him. If Otto-san were to hear that, he'd probably have the angriest face ever. Cause yeah, this is, dude, just seeing like the Subaru before he came to trust everybody, before like call everybody friend, like, god damn it. This shit is so good. This shit is actually just so fucking good. Subaru had the tendency to take everything on by himself, not just Otto, but anyone in the camp would be angry if they were told that. But Petra thought Otto would be the most frightening. Nevertheless, if it was true that Otto should not bear this burden alone, if Klein could have brought Ram along, they could have shared the burden with the help with her clairvoyance, right? That's what I was saying earlier. And then, just as she thought that, Petra suddenly remembered. Hey, Amelia Nisama, there's something I wanted to ask you. What is it, Petra-chan? I don't know if you've noticed, Amelia Nisama, but on the way here, Meili-chan and I suddenly started feeling sick. The question Petra had asked related to the events which occurred just after Flam had used the divine protection of mind speak with her sister Graces in order to locate Ramji and the others. As they were discussing rushing to the royal capital, suddenly Petra's entire body broke out in goosebumps, and she was struck by an unsettling feeling within her heart. Petra was also shocked. She had wondered if it was a side effect of the Book of the Dead, or if Reinhardt had lost and the Witch of Envy was coming for her, but Meili was experiencing the same sensation, so they concluded that it was neither. But given the situation, right? Lam-chan and Ramji-chan weren't affected, but Meili-chan, Klein-sama, and I felt it. In this case, I thought it might not be entirely unrelated to Al-san. Amelia Nisama? It was an unnatural situation, and even after discussing it with Meili and Klein, they had arrived at no conclusion. Upon seeing Amelia's reaction, Petra stopped sharing this potentially sensitive information. Amelia was staring intently with her beautiful amethyst eyes, her cheeks stiffening. It was clear from her reaction that she understood what it was. That really creepy feeling is probably the work of the Sin Archbishop of Gluttony. she say? Gluttony? Ugh. Feel it. Awful. Subaru frowned at the mention of a Sin Archbishop, one of their most hated enemies, and Meili stuck out her tongue. Petra also put her hand on her chest, motioning with her eyes, prompting Amelia to continue. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but Al made Gluttony, Roy, do something, and then I suddenly felt sick, and while my vision was spinning, Al-san and Gluttony both got away? Yes, that's right. Amelia's shoulders slumped dejectedly as she weakly nodded. In response to Amelia's reply, Petra glanced at Ramji, and the wise old man in charge of the felt camp stroked his head with his large hand and said, When this was just about Petra and Meili, I was thinking it was just some kind of misunderstanding. But with Amelia feeling the same way on top of that, and Gluttony being involved, I don't have a good feeling about this. What do we have in common? We're all Nisama's allies, maybe? It would be easier to figure out if Fang Oni-san was awake, or if Hado Oni-san wasn't keeping quiet over there. Or if Subaru Oni-san hadn't been captured, including the current me. We're three idiots with bad timing. As Petra had predicted, Al was involved, but the fact that Gluttony was also involved made the uncertainty surrounding the unknown attack even more dire. Leaving Spica behind in the Empire had begun to feel like a mistake. Spica too, despite her many trials and tribulations, was one of the Sin Archbishops of Gluttony. No, I shouldn't think like that. I'm not the master. What could be done and what could not be done? What would be useful and what would not? If she were to start to determine a person's value from that perspective, she would quickly become like Roswell. Insight. Insight could be honed as much as one liked, but it was essential to be cautious to avoiding losing one's humanity. For now, let's just be aware of Gluttony's actions. So according to your internal affairs minister, their destination is Kawaraki, the Grand Mogulate Geyser. Ramji attempted to change the direction of the conversation, to move away from the inclusive discussion. And Amelia picked up on his words. I wonder what he did, what Roy did. That was the final destination of Al and his accomplices. And the circumstances that led to this discovery were: they took Felt, and she left behind a message for you guys. I trust Felt completely, but I'm unsure about you. You mean Otto-kun? I believe in him not just 100 times, but 1,000,000 times over. Amelia Nisama, you're talking about quantity. You're talking about quantity, but it's supposed to be a percentage. Still, it sounds cool. Amelia's answer, which was not bound by the concept of percentages, warmed Petra's heart, while Ramji and Meili looked on with wry smiles. But Amelia answered Ramji's questions thoroughly, which was typical of her. You're not just cute, you've gotten incredibly strong, Amelia-tan. Subaru stared at Amelia with a look of wonder. The fact that this Subaru was from the middle of solving the issues in the sanctuary, it made it difficult for him to understand how Amelia had managed to grow and become so amazing. She wanted to tell him that the Amelia of today had been forged in a three-legged race together with Subaru. No, there's Beatrice-tron too, so it's a four-legged race. If that's the logic, then I want to join too, and Garf-san would get sulky if you don't include him. Meili-chan, what about you? What are you talking about? It's kind of scary when you suddenly start talking like Subaru Oni-san. That's definitely something I would say, but Meili seems to understand it a bit too well, don't you think? With a touch of lingering deep emotion, Subaru gave a wry smile at Petra, in Meili's conversation. Regardless, Romji seemed to be satisfied with Amelia's answer, and it was shared that that Al and his companions' final destination was indeed the Grand Mogulay Geyser. To be honest, she did not know what was in that place, but since we know where they are going, we should be able to get there first with Klein-san's help. Right, Ramoji-san. Wait. Right, Ramoji-san. Tonchin-kan? Who the fuck is Tonchin-kan? Fuck is Tonchin-kan, bro? Huh? What? Sorry, I just got like an interesting notification about Twitch monetization. Gonna have to look into that after this. Tonchin-kan. Who the fuck is Tonchin-kan? You know, I'm just gonna. Oh. Oh, wait. Oh, it's all Tonchin and Kan. Bro, why the fuck did he call them fucking Tonchin Kan? That's fucking hilarious. Anyway. At present, everybody except the seriously injured should have entered the nearby town as instructed. That Klein boy. We can't overuse his power, ain't that right? We'll plan accordingly. Ramji shrugged his broad shoulders, showing his understanding of Klein's authority without asking for further explanation. Thanks to the compensation offered by Petra, the restrictions binding Klein's authority, compression, were lifted. However, depending on the number of times it was to be used and the number of people involved, even that would be unable to completely cover the cost. First, they would need to prepare the field of which fewest number of people they would have been deployed as many. Then they would deploy as many people as possible once they had finished assessing the situation. Thanks to the reckless actions of Otto, a ray of hope appeared in the midst of their preparations. Furthermore, the more information they gathered about what sort of lineup Al and his party planned to arrive with before reaching their final destination, the better. That was when the means to accomplish the goals are already in our hands. Opportunity. My boy! My fucking boy! Dude, I fucks with Klein. I fucks with Klein heavy, bro. I fucks with Klein heavy. Hearing that voice, Petra and the others turned around in unison, seeing the person whom they had been waiting for. Klein bowed, taking in their full attention. It was exactly the person they had wanted to talk to. Amelia's expression brightened up as she exclaimed, "Klein-san!" as if she had been waiting for the perfect moment. "Thank you for bringing Petra-chan and the others. Thanks to you, we were able to reunite properly." I require no thanks. I returned to Mirula on my own accord. And it was Petra's support that enabled me to meet your expectations. Encouragement. More importantly, my apologies for returning late. Remorse. I don't know, I just like how he speaks. It's so fun. I don't think you are particularly late, but did something happen, Klein-nisama? Klein slowly shook his head in apology, and Petra tilted her head in confusion. Certainly, considering the nature of compression, it can be said that Klein took some time to arrive at the royal residence. However, there must have been a need to explain the situation to the other parties at the pick-up location. So it did not seem like something that would warrant an apology for being late. Perhaps it was a manifestation of his perfectionism, a trait of someone who was good at his job. Klein looked at Petra while she was thinking this and said, No, negative. Okay. As for the reason for the delay, rather than explaining it in words, it would be best for you all to experience it firsthand, as this would be the quickest and most reliable way to understand. Personal experience. Firsthand? Experience? Petra and Subaru tilted their heads at the unnatural choice of words used to explain his tardiness. Amelia and Meili seemed to have the same question, and Romji, who was in the most objective position, crossed his arms and watched with interest to see what would happen. Then, as everyone watched, Klein moved to the side of the room's entrance. Huh. Kept you waiting, huh? It's Ram! It's Ram! Ram! With a dignified presence, a maid with pink hair strode boldly into the room. Her brashly arrogant behavior perfectly suited to her. It was none other than Ram, the woman Klein had retrieved and joined with was wearing a maid outfit for the first time in a while. And Petra, who was also a maid, felt quite nostalgic for the uniform. Felt quite nostalgic for the uniform, since it had been a long time since she had been able to wear one. However, Ram, you came! Ah! Amelia was about to run and greet Ram in her maid's uniform with a smile, but her words were cut off. She stopped in her tracks, and the hand that had been reaching out to take Ram's hand was pressed against her own forehead. Amelia let out a confused sounding voice. Although she should have been worried about what had suddenly happened, Petra was unable to do so. This was because Petra, like Meili and Amelia, was racked with the same indescribable feeling. The moment Petra saw Ram, she was overcome by a massive, inexplicable, indescribable feeling of turmoil welling up inside of her. Petra felt an unbridled, enigmatic feeling similar to nausea she had described earlier, which had been attributed to gluttony. However, while she had made strong malice in the previous instant of discomfort. While she had felt strong malice in the previous instant of discomfort, she did not feel anything of the sort this time. It was not like that, but rather a different, stronger, more powerful attraction. Seeing Ram in the maid uniform brought out something intense from within, and the answer to that attraction appeared immediately behind Ram. It was, "Apologies for being late to join you, Amelia-sama." With that, a blue-haired maid dressed in the same maid uniform as Ram stood beside her and performed a graceful curtsy. Of course, it was a familiar face. Hold on. I gotta reread that, because like I knew who it was gonna be. The moment Petra saw Ram, she was overcome by a massive, inexplicable, indescribable feeling of turmoil welling up from inside. Petra felt an unbridled, enigmatic feeling similar to nausea she had described earlier, which had been attributed to gluttony. However, while she had felt strong malice in that previous instance of discomfort, she did not feel anything of the sort this time. This was not like that, but rather a different, stronger, more powerful attraction. Seeing Ram in the maid uniform brought out something intense from within, and the answer to that attraction appeared immediately behind Ram. It was, "Apologies for being late to join you, Amelia-sama." With that blue-haired maid dressed in the same maid uniform as Ram stood beside her and performed a graceful curtsy. Of course, it was a familiar face. However, as far as Petra knew, she was not in a position to perform with such perfect manners and wear a maid's uniform. No, that was not right either. Once again, and again, and again, her perception changed. No, that was not right. It was absurd to think that she lacked the knowledge and manners of a maid. After all, she was the first person in the world to show Natsuki Subaru and Petra, who still had been a village girl at the time, what it meant to be a proper mate. The attraction reminded Petrolete of this. Namely, the one who stood there was to get back that person. No, Subaru. Rem will use any means that's getting me choked up. Rem will use any means necessary. Yes, the Roswell Mansion's original, versatile, helpful maid, known for her polite but sharp tongue, Rem looked straight ahead at her pale blue eyes as she declared so. What? That's a JoJo's reference? Bro. To get back that dude. Did we officially just get Rem back, bro? I am about to cry, bro. I am literally about to cry, bro. I like how they did this. I love how they did this. Bro, W fucking chapter. She's back! She's back! Bro, I'm about to read another chapter after this. Bro, we are on a roll! We are on a roll, chat. Oh my god, bro. Dude. Dude. What? Oh, wait. Hey, I'll take the obsessive bitch over the amnesiac rat bastard any day. Both are horrible, but no point in ranking them. Which is more horrible? Why are you talking shit? All right, fuck the hate comments. Fuck them. Bro, she's back. Let's go, my queen. Oh, there. Okay. My queen is back. She has graced us with her glorious presence. All right, so you already know. We're gonna read a little bit of the next one. Ooh. Damn. All right. So, chapter 30. Dude, we're 6 chapters away from being caught up. Okay. Chapter 35 of Arc 9, The Awakening Star. We will only read the beginning. And then we're going to go right into the next one with the next reading. When Rem returned to the Roswell Manor, she was unable to regain any sensation of coming back home whatsoever. Rem, do you see it? That is the mansion belonging to Roswell-sama. The place where Ram and the others are employed. Our workplace? As Ram indicated, the picturesque scenery endued by rays of... Why am I trying to read like her? Endued by rays of the sun falling bright, a sight visible from the window of the dragon carriage. Ram's pale blue pupils blinked at her, and her eyelids quivered at Ram's words. They had shared a dragon carriage and headed toward the industrial city of Kastul, and it had been a while since they had boarded the dragon carriage, prepared there for their return journey to drop them off. What entered her sight was her home, absent in recollection. The towering gate, and beyond it, a splendid mansion, the Roswell Mansion, with greater extravagance than even the Burstett's residence she had sojourned in with Katya in the Valakian Imperial Empire, was a building with elegance and capable of being forgotten after a single glimpse. Yet, well, I apologize, Nei-sama. Rem, spiritless, shook her head and apologized for failing to respond to her elder sister's hopes. Rem had made the journey thus far apart from Subaru or Amelia and the others who moved separately towards separate goals, and had made her way back to the mansion with Ram. Having anticipated witnessing many things that would stimulate her memories, yet none so far had managed to bestow truth to that anticipation. W chapter. This has been your boy Zero, aka Black Noski Suru. Y'all know what to do. Leave a like, share it with your homies, subscribe. Hit that notification bell as well so you can stay updated on when I make videos, content, go live, and of all of that good crazy shit. I'm gonna catch you on the next one. We're gonna keep this train going. Peace.